And now, we'll open it up for questions.
Okay, I have a couple.
Fire away.
I have a room. What does this have to do with family law?
When there's an economic aspect to the court decree, who's going to pay what? It's not unusual in a nasty divorce, as opposed to a cooperative divorce, for there to be allocated responsibilities for financial performance. What if the party that is part of that agreement, both parties in that agreement, number one of them doesn't perform, whether it's intentionally or whether it's not intentionally. If the non-payment of a joint account causes the other party, who should not be affected by the non-payment, for their credit score to drop sufficiently that they cannot get a loan, that they have credit cards canceled, or they can't get a job. In military divorces, as an example, if the military spouse has their credit score erosion sufficient, they may lose their security clearance. They may lose their rank. Now that's a formal experience of a civilian situation. If you're working for a company and your credits and you're in a sensitive situation and they monitor your credit as part of the condition of your employment, and your score goes below a certain number, you just lost your job. And if it stays that low, you're probably not going to get another similar quality job or similar paying job. What about recognition of responsibility? And I'm going to make the husband, the male, the bad guy, because he's usually the higher, well, often, overwhelmingly so, yes. So, Mr. Jones is very upset with his wife for any variety of reasons. It could be sex, it could be visitation rights, it could be the way money is spent. All we know is that they're unhappy with each other. And he decides that either he can't or won't meet the obligations on their joint accounts. And the housewife says, well, I've got a court decree on my side, right? Well, that's not binding to the creditor. The creditor wants to get paid as per the agreement by both parties. And that's what it has to do with family law. It also has to do with, what if the court ruling stipulates that one party will pay and they don't? And let's, for the sake of conversation, say it was willful. It's not always willful, but let's say that it was willful. And it causes, with the expectation of the non-payer, loss of job. It really ruins the lifestyle of the mother of the children of this family. Now she's getting bill collector calls because she's a responsible party. Now, let's say that he has hidden assets that he's not revealing. Let's say all the bad things that can happen do happen, but there is an opportunity for compensation. That's where credit damage comes in. Economic adjustment of the assets within the marriage.
Now you're talking about post-decree.
I'm talking about any part of the marriage. He could cut off her credit cards.
You're saying that during the marriage, she can, one party can go after the other party for credit damage?
Yes. Absolutely. This is not post-decree. This is not post-ruling. If you're my wife and I decide that I don't like you anymore and I don't want to cooperate, for want of a better term, with a divorce or a separation, and my new mission in life is to make your lifestyle and the children, I'm a really bad person, a living hell, you ought to be entitled to restitution You ought to be entitled to rebalancing of asset. You ought to have a legal basis to protect your lifestyle.
Your order doesn't really say that that's it. Your order means the law needs to be changed. That's what I'm hearing.
No, the law doesn't need to be changed. The law needs to be more widely recognized. I have been involved in 3 divorce matters. I don't know what during the divorce, during the process. And what really opened my eyes to this was the husband really hated his wife. I don't know what she did, but he really hated her. He did everything he could to make her life just a miserable time. And she thought that she needed to suffer through that. Her attorney petitioned the court and said, here is what's happened to the family finances. Here is how the wife has been deprived of financial benefits that were part of the marriage that have been taken away, with the exception of her responsibility on the accounts. Because she wanted to be an authorized user. And she didn't understand the difference between being an authorized user and an approved borrower. And it's not unusual for when the husband is approved, if they're still married and there's no thunder in the application, that the wife is approved as a borrower, not as a user. Because if she's a borrower, she's responsible. If she's only an authorized user, she's not responsible, and lenders want as many responsible parties as possible because they want the most opportunity to get their assets recovered. Okay? So he took away the credit cards, payments that he made were always late, and the joint accounts that they made, the first she found out that they weren't being paid was the collection calls, which is typical. And her response was, hey, that's not my problem. That's his problem. That's his credit card. I just use it. Or that's his credit card. My name's just on it because I'm the wife. And the court has said he's supposed to pay those bills. And the creditor said, your name's on the contract. You're responsible. And if the payments are late, it's going on your credit report. And when the collection activities start, which is started with this phone call, you're going to have all those problems on your credit report, whatever your husband does, except pay the bill on time. That's how it relates to divorce or separation.